YouTube Nation, Main Event TV, aka Me TV, aka Optimus in his prime, but the only thing that's transforming the industry right now, for a negative, I should say, for a bad thing, is from the companies. Now, I will say this, today's show is brought to you by, because we're going to need it, man, I'm telling you, the Game Genie, because we're going to need a lot of wishes, all right, to fix this, to get it back to good. Now, I want to say thank you guys for watching the show, thank you guys for sending me information, and before anyone asks, no, I'm not talking about Devil May Cry this week. We have some serious issues. These issues today will prove that it's going to be gut check time for us gamers. This impacts all of us. All of us. And if you say you don't care, you're not a gamer at this point, all right? I'm just saying. Now, last week, I ended the show with a lot of political talk. Well, this week I have to start off with political talk because the gaming companies, yes, have started again. They've struck another, I should say, just hit another milestone. And this is going to piss some people off, especially some of you guys that are in politics. It's going to piss you guys off, all right? So let's get started today, all right? They talk about the NY Times. That's right. It says, video game industry takes advantage of the federal tax system, all right? They've been taking advantage of tax breaks left and right. Yes. So let's get into this, all right? It says, because video game makers straddle the lines between software development, the entertainment industry, and online retailing, they can combine tax breaks in ways that companies like Netflix and Adobe cannot, all right? It says, video game developers receive such a rich assortment of incentives that even oil companies, that's right, oil companies, have questioned why the government should subsidize such a mature and profitable industry whose main contribution is to create amusing and sometimes anti-social entertainment. All right. Now, there's another article that says, timely lobbying by EA's part in 2004 helped qualify video games for a tax break on the companies that export a tax deduction that last year amounted to 9% of the publisher's production costs. So what does this mean, guys? This means that all these companies crying, especially EA, crying about being poor or used games, yeah, it's not real. They have such a break. This is why they have so much money to buy out other companies and so much money to throw at advertising for Battlefield. We'll talk about that later, all right? This is why. They've been lying the entire time, and now they're caught. That's right, but no, that's not all. More news, all right, guys? Let's get into this. For those who have seen the Sony Terms of Service, that's right, your TOS, yeah, hopefully some of you guys read it instead of just accepting to it, because understand, the Terms of Service says that you cannot sue them in a class action lawsuit. That's what the Terms of Service is. There's more, and I'll get to that. But that's the big cheese right there, all right? The class action lawsuit. Now, we saw the class action lawsuit not too long ago, right? Where Sony, they were in trouble, all right? They're saying, and I quote, all right? It says here, let me get to it real quick, all right, guys? It says, you can't sue them as part of a class action lawsuit, and you can't be named in any kind of governmental legislation that might be enacted against Sony. Yes. It says, well, not if you want to keep using your PSN. And that's what it is, because you know, if you don't agree to the Terms of Service, guess what? You're going to lose your account. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute, all right? So pretty much the Terms of Service says you cannot sue them in a class action lawsuit. However, you can sue them individually. Now, I have to go on record and say this, because we saw this not too long ago with GeoHot when he went against Sony by himself. What happened? When you're an individual and you go against Sony, continuance after continuance after continuance, Sony's lawyers, I should call them lawyers. Lawyers will simply crush you until you have no more money. However, in a class action lawsuit, it's a completely different thing. See, this is what I've been trying to tell you people. The companies are scared of numbers. That's what it is. One person, yeah, they'll try to take them out and bleed them dry. But if, say, for example, if I sue them in a class action lawsuit, that means all of us are suing them in a class action lawsuit, and they have a problem with that. They are scared of that. Not only that, but the Terms of Service also says that they can spy on your hardware now. Now, I've said this before. If you have nothing to, nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. I think this is because of the hacks that's been going on, but that's not the point, all right? If you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. However, I still feel it is an invasion of privacy, just in general. That's how I feel, all right? Also, they go on to say that any PSN game that you buy is not yours. You are paying, you're licensing it. That's what you're paying for the license to play it. It's not yours anymore. Now, I want to say this, because in the class action lawsuit, we saw Sony say, well, the PS3 isn't any, it's not any of the gamers. You're paying for the licensing to use the PS3. That's what they said in court. Did they not? I talked about this a couple months ago. All right? So I'll put it like this, Sony. If the PS3 is not mine, I'm just paying, the hardware is mine, but the software and the operating system on it is not mine. I'm just paying, the licensing, I'm paying for the right to use it. Well, I'll put it like this. If my PS3 y'all like to death, you should have to pay for it, not me. But that's a hardware failure, right? So they can dick you around with the hardware stuff and not pay for it and assume no responsibility. But anything else, is not yours, even though you're paying for it. And we saw this with EA not too long ago as well, because EA said, you know, well, we can take your game away from you from 6 months from now and say, hey, it's fine because you agreed to it. This is what the terms of service say. And if you don't agree to the terms of service, because I already feel, all right, I don't think there's anything that's legal about saying, you know, that can hold within, we can hold within a court of law that says, I just signed saying I can't sue Sony. No, you can't just put that in there, all right? And I believe some of you guys have already said there is a way around it. You just have to write to them or something and adhere your right to, you know, for not just blindly going into it. You understand what's going on and it's not right, but you have to you have to write them via regular mail or something like that. I'll have to look more into that, all right? But what they're doing here is wrong. Sony is scared. That's what this is. And for them to try to say that you can't sue them anymore, and I'm telling you now, I've seen on forums already people say, good, you shouldn't sue Sony anyway. Really? See, this is what I mean, the difference between gamers and just fucking idiots. It must suck to be an idiot. It really must suck. I mean, really, you cannot sit here and say that. But anyways, I'll put it like this. You have to be of age in order to sign this terms of agreement, to agree, all right? If you're not of age, yeah, guess what? You need a parent. That's right, you need a parent to come and read this and agree. If you are underage and you agree to this, guess what? If you decide to sue Sony in some way, you pretty much just throw your lawsuit, you're pretty much throwing it out, you know, just throwing it away because of the fact that you're going against the terms of service. See, guys, if you don't agree, they will get rid of your account. That's right. Now, I feel this is entrapment at this point because you're saying, agree to this or else. And if you don't agree to this, they'll get rid of your account and everything else. And understand, guys, that there's a lot of people, a lot of gamers who have invested in this system. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars in games and all types of add-ons or whatever. Yes, this is going to be a problem. So Sony is telling you, we don't need you. We don't need you. So from now on, I don't ever want to hear anything from Sony again. I don't want to see one suit, no stiff, no fucking Jack Trenton or whatever, with a power towel come and say, we care about the fans. Every time I hear a PR or anybody come and say, Sony cares about the fans, that's what I feel. All right, because I'm going to bring up this TOS every time they say that. This is ridiculous. It needs to be revised. There's no way in hell that you can do this. No way. Don't tell me that the games that I buy is not mine now. Don't tell me, yeah, because like I said, this is all digital now. Understand, this is all. I'm gonna talk about this later. You know what? Let's move on because I'm gonna keep harping on this. All right. Let's get in this. The used game market is now being hit. Right. It's being blamed now because Heavy Rain apparently lost $1 million in sales to secondhand gaming to the used game market. Now, mind you, guys, the publishers and the developers, when Heavy Rain first came out, because a lot of people were saying, I've seen on forums, see, used gamers, this is why you have to support new. Understand that when this game first came out, and the link is in the info bar. That's right. Sony and Quantic Dream, they came out and said they didn't expect the game to succeed anyway. So you're going to sit here and complain about the used game market taking $1 million away from you for a game that you didn't expect to succeed. How's that work? How's that work? See, this is just another knock at the used game market. They're trying to slowly phase out. So now they're going to blame everything on it. Understand it, guys. Now, also, in more Sony news, all right? BG charts. We talked about this a couple months ago. How, was it reviewers? Yeah, they were being paid off. VG Charts is coming out and admitting that they were paid off by Sony to promote the PS3. Yes, there's a link in the info bar for you guys, and there's a screen cap for you guys, them admitting it. Yes, guys, this is getting nasty. This is not what gaming is about. This is not. And it's sad that it's going this far. I just can't. Guys, you have to understand, when I'm reading this news before I'm reporting it to you, it really does make me want to quit. It really does. And I don't understand what this whole terms of service, I don't understand what I'm going to do personally yet. Because if I agree, then I'm waiving my right to something. But also understand, I still have PSN cards, I still have money on the PSN. I'm not going to get that back if I don't, go back and get my stuff, if I don't agree. So they're locking me, off of online until I decide to either agree or whatever. Like I said, I think I'm just going to wait till this is revised, but this is a joke. No way, this is a joke. Also, in more EA news, all right? The online pass that we talked about last week. Yes, EA is saying that the online pass is simply pure profit. That's right. It says it's found money. It's found money. Meaning, they don't give a shit about the used game market. It never, and I told you before, it never was about them losing money, especially with all this stuff. Guys, it's getting ridiculous. It's getting ridiculous. Also, I told you I'd get into Battlefield 3 for a minute. Hold on. EA is confirming that Battlefield 3 will be on 2 discs. That's right, for the 360. And DLC will be for post-release. Yes, guys. It's already started. The game's not even out yet. It's already. Also, EA goes on to say that Battlefield 3 is not expected to beat Modern Warfare 3 this year. I'm calling bullshit on that. I'm calling bullshit. They know something that we don't. Because I put it like this. No way would you keep Bobby Kotick out of conventions to see Battlefield 3. No way would you have all these articles saying you want to see Modern Warfare rot from the core. No way would you spend over $100 million in advertising for Battlefield 3 to not win this year. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Seriously, these companies are getting out of hand. And speaking of more companies, the 360. All right, now for those who know, earlier this week, 360 banned a lot of people. Right? Yeah, no one knew what the problem was. So, all you guys, when the PSN got hacked and you said, this is why you buy 360, for, you pay, yearly or monthly for live for security. And I told you guys that this security ain't shit. It ain't shit, because these guys can get into anything. Well, the bans came out due to people breaking in. That's right, they hacked into the Xbox Live Marketplace and stole games. Where's your excuse now, 360 guys? See, this is what I mean. Stop being stupid. Understand that anything can be hacked. The Xbox Live Marketplace was hacked. Now, they're also saying, for all you Black Ops fans who played on the 360, they're also saying that because a lot of guys are saying, well, I didn't break anything, I don't have anything illegal, but yet I'm still banned. It says there may be a bug in Black Ops that are also banning regular consoles. You gotta be kidding me. This is what I mean about these companies rushing shit out and not doing the proper research, the proper legwork. This is what happens, and yet they want you to pay top dollar for all this stuff. Look, guys, I'm going to get more into that later, all right? Because we have a lot, I'm telling you, we have a lot more. I don't want to call it news at this point. I want to call it evidence, all right? But Dead Island, for those who don't know, offers an apology to women for being used as feminist whores. That's right. Now, let's get into this real quick. Because it says, Dead Island developers said that they were referred to females as a skill. That's right, it's a skill, it's a trait in the game called Feminist Whore. It says, however, it was a private joke and it was removed. It says at the end, that code was made as part of the product, and signed with our company name. We deeply regret that fact, and we apologize to our customers or anyone who might have been offended in an inappropriate expression. Understand, they insulted a lot of women. There was a lot of backlash about this. And before anyone says, oh, well, they said it was an inside joke and people should get over it, understand, women in gaming, you have to understand, women in gaming, they take a lot of shit. And you also have to understand that the way they promote women in gaming, every woman's hot, they play only a certain genre. Like I said, just because you play a certain genre doesn't mean you're a gamer, all right? But you have to understand, even though us men take a lot of, stereotypes and stigmas of whatever a gamer's supposed to be, women have it just as bad, if not worse. All right, so a lot of women were very upset about this, and I can understand that, all right? Now, guys, also, Dead Island has announced that DLC will be coming later this month. Didn't the fucking game just come out? See, this is what I'm talking about, all right? And they go on to say how they have to fix a lot of bugs and a lot of problems, so let me get this straight, all right? You have games that come out, they want top dollar for the game, but less quality. We're talking day one patches. We're talking a ton of bugs. We're talking things that are rushed. That's right. And now you're going to sit here and bring out DLC later. So didn't the game just come out? Come on, guys. See, this is the shit I'm talking about. And for people to sit here and, oh my God, to sit here and try to defend this is ridiculous. No way, it's unacceptable. Until these companies get these games right and take their time and make games, you shouldn't be charging $60 plus for them. No way. And then try later hit us with DLC. No way. Fix your games first before you decide to rush it out and decide for people to just run out and buy the shit. All right? And there's been a lot of complaints. You guys sent me a lot of stuff saying, I believe we talked about last week about how the game isn't what they showed in the trailer. It completely misrepresents what it's about. So that's another problem, all right? But that's what a trailer is, right? They just misled you. That's what they do. Now, I want to talk about this real quick because we're going to talk about women in gaming again. A 14-year-old girl has made it into NHL 12, all right? Now, guys, for those who don't know what's going on, this 14-year-old girl was part of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, meaning she's dying, all right? And all the things she could have picked, to do something with her life, she wanted to be in EA's game, all right? I don't have a problem with that. But you know what? You need to see the stats on this girl. This girl's stats are crazy. You know what? Let's take a look at the screenshot real fast of her stats. And it's been been reported, that's right, it's been reported that her goals against average is a 1.14 with those monster stats. This is crazy, man, but you know what? It's a game. It's a game. I'm happy that she's in it, you know, and she's had her wish fulfilled. But I will say this, for every well-wisher like myself for her, there's a lot of animosity coming towards her. And I put it like this, I understand on IGN, you cannot, you know, spell ignorance without IGN. However, there are people over there in their forums, they are pieces of shit. They are. You should see, and I put the link in the info bar for you guys. Hopefully the topic hasn't been taken out yet. You know what I mean? The thread. However, not another dead girl in her game. This old dead bitch needs to go somewhere. Yes. This is a fucking game. If anyone's acting like this over a game, there's something fucking wrong with you. You should be ashamed of yourself. Either you're immature or you're just a fucking asshole. There's something fucking wrong with you. No way should you be acting like that. This girl doesn't have long to live. Let her have it. At least she can say, hey, I was in the game. That's all. That's all. Alright? If you have a problem with that, then you know you don't need to be playing games. Alright? You really don't if that's the case. You know, I don't even call you gamers. There's something fucking wrong with you guys. Anyways, in more gaming news, alright? Gears 3 is coming out with exclusive, that's right, exclusive pre-order bonuses. Now, we already know that there's going to be DLC for Gears 3, alright? Already know this. And for those who don't know, yeah, wait till it happens, alright? But, however, there's pre-order bonuses pretty much at every retailer where you get certain skins, right? Now, if you get this at a certain place, you can't get them anywhere else. I would say they're going to run the gauntlet and do like they did, you know, before. Not just Epic, but I mean just anybody. When they have a exclusive pre-order, whatever, it usually comes out later down the line, just letting you know, alright? But the writer is talking about how you'll never be able to get these things. I don't believe that, but if it's true, that's pretty fucked up. Now, I need to move on because we have some more DLC news. Batman Arkham City, that's right, Catwoman DLC has been hinted by GameStop's strategy guide. Now, look, guys, I have a big problem with this. I'm telling you now, all right, because you guys know, this is pissing me off. You guys knew how hype I was for Batman Arkham City. All right, I bought the game day one, Rocksteady. There's something fucking wrong. Seriously, if you have a problem, because I understand this is not about Rocksteady at this point. This is WB. That's what this is, all right? Because it's been reported that WB will have online pass for it, all right, for all their games at this point. Online pass, right? We know about the Robin DLC. We know that episodic content is coming out. You UK gamers told me just not too long ago that you're getting ready to have some, if you pre-order it, you get a 4-hour single-player DLC that we don't get over here in America. Also, now Catwoman DLC. This is getting out of hand. I have pulled my first day buy, and guess what? My pre-order, yeah, canceled. All right? I will be waiting for the Game of the Year edition. No way in hell you're going to do that to me. You should be ashamed of yourselves. Batman Arkham Asylum. People didn't want anything to do with Arkham Asylum because they didn't know how it was. I was the first to go out and buy it, to support you because it was a great fucking game. Then it called on. And this is how you're going to do people? This is how you're going to do me? People who've been loyal to you? Fuck you. Fuck you. Anyways, guys, let's take a break because I need to talk about this. We need to talk about real quick about another gaming documentary that's getting ready to come out called Live Competition. Check this out real quick.
And he hits Wolverine! This is how it always starts! But he dropped the combo. Gets the hit anyway. Oh, good shot! Good shot! Good shot! Good shot! Oh, he gets the hit! That's gonna be it! Snake Deuce converts it!
Recently, in 2009, Street Fighter 4 released, leading to where we are today.
The most godliest place ever, Starbase Arcade here in Centerville, California. For you guys who don't know where that is, it's a small community up about 15, 20 minutes north of San Francisco. So it's kind of like a central hub between all the different parts of the Bay.
We are live. First match of the night.
Ryan Ramirez, aka Filipino Champ, under Complexity Gaming. I started playing video games when I was maybe 12, 13. I was playing like X-Men vs. Street Fighter, and then there was a long break when like the fighting game scene was like dead, you know? And the Street Fighter 4 came out, and I was like, oh my god, everybody needs to play. So that's where I really got started.
Players attend tournaments all over the world every week, and tens of thousands watch the stream for dedication. Streams bring the experience to people not fortunate enough to make it out to these events. When you can't afford a plane ticket, at least you'll be able to keep up with your favorite players and not miss out on big moments. Commentary is a critical part of these streams. It can bring viewers into the fight like they are really there. Many of the people watching are uninformed. Good commentary can help people understand just what they are seeing unfold in front of them.
Great job! That was winners, yeah. As far as I can tell.
The very first tournament I went to, I waited there only to get smashed. My nerves were not like on my side. I'm non-stop shaking. It was ridiculous. And you know, you just have to learn with losing like that.
As you see the saltiness or the anger people get when they lose, or the excitement when people get when they win, back in the arcades, as a young player, it made me want to work harder, and I wanted to cause that.
Fighting games are one of the most difficult genres of games to play at a decent skill level, because not only do you have to put hours of your own time into it, you'll never be any good without a decent partner. If you don't have anyone good to spar against, you'll never be able to improve.
There's just so much that your training partner can do with you, because you're only as good as the people you play with. So the more like cliques you play with, the more better as a player you would be. It's up to you too to actually improve your like discipline, you know, like your tendencies not to be so predictable. That's all up to you too. But knowledge or learning the game, you need friends for that. Like, you know, like to improve as like an overall player, you do that on your own.
Fighting games serve as sort of a universal language for us. I can spend time with people who have no spoken language in common, and enjoy myself and make friends. It's unique. The dynamics of the game establish respect. You can feel their hard work, and show them yours.
Like the people that I met in Evo, they're like, hey champ, dude, I remember you back in 2009, you weren't that good yet. How did you get so good? I said, I went to every single session. I went to every single weekly. I went to every single major. Every weekly, there's like 5 weeks I would go all of them. You know, I don't care if I lose or win, I need the competition. But if I go there, I'll get that tournament pressure experience. You're not gonna get a tournament pressure experience if you just play at home with your friends. Like, it's different if there's something on the line. I don't care if it's $1, but if there's something on the line, that will help you in the big stage.
It's really, a lot of people play because they're all competitive, they all love one thing, but as you go to a lot more sessions, like such as this one or anywhere on the Bay, I've always said it's always about friendship too, is that you look forward to playing these people, but you also look forward to hanging out. You know, you're people you don't see very often, and a silly thing like video games brings people from hundreds of miles away for that like 5 hours a night, and you get to just hang out.
Okay, well of course you got the competitive aspect. It's like, it's what keeps you coming back to play the game, but at the same time the community is so close together. It's like, it's just one big family, you know?
The scene in general is just too amazing. Like when you're there, it's just so electrifying. It's like your WrestleMania of fighting games, you know? Like you're there and it's just a different feeling. Like everybody's passion is there. Everybody who loves fighting games, they're all there. It's just an amazing feeling. And I wish like everybody try to consider going to Evolution, you know, or like a major that's close to you guys.
I couldn't control myself, you know? It's just, you get that urge to do things that you don't really want to do, but you know, you get over there and it's evil, man. Like you can't help but go nuts.
Street Fighter sold 2.5 million. Marvel sold like maybe 2 million. How come in Evo there's only 5,000 people? What happened to the other millions? Like, I feel like they just don't know the scene yet. But once you guys get a grasp of the actual scene, how it's really, really exciting and so fun, you guys will actually invest to actually travel across the country just to like experience that feeling.
It looks like a good documentary, and it also goes to show you camaraderie of what happened in arcades back in the day. And speaking of arcades, I told you guys they were going to make a comeback. Did I not say this? Well, guess what? Now, arcades are back, and it goes to show you because, as announced, all right, it says Square Enix CEO Wada says that arcades, holograms, and cloud computing are the future in gaming. Now look, arcades, I said this before, they need to make a comeback. This is pretty much history repeating itself, all right? But to say they're the future in gaming, all right? And I'll have more about this probably next week about why arcades are the future in gaming. But it says, Wada went to say that in the past 20 years, the gaming industry has established a set of rules and regulations. I told you guys last year that what they were doing now was changing rules on the fly. They're making up on the fly as they go along. You see it in the tosses. You see all this stuff. They needed guidelines. I told you that, and you shouldn't be duped by it. It says, but in that future, these will need to be redrafted to accommodate for a new generation of gamers who have not grown up with this existing framework. They're changing the rules, guys. Now, I will say this. THQ's come out and said that cloud gaming is the future. It says, but also that games will be cheaper. And that's bullshit. And I'm calling THQ on this because we've seen this. I'll use this example over and over with the PSP. All right? When gamers saw how much PSP games were like, why are we paying so much for PSP games? And Sony said, because you got to pay for the UMD, the physical part, you know, the manufacturing and all that, right? And people were like, okay. And then PSP games started coming to the PSN digitally. And guess what? They were still the same price. Still the same price. I'm not trying to hear that all of a sudden that it'll be cheaper for us consumers, because it won't, all right? It'll be cheaper to probably make them, but it won't be in our best benefit. No way. All right, there's no way they will do that. You have to understand that, guys. Especially cloud computing. Like I said, I'm against it, completely against it. And a lot of people are saying, well, Steam does it right. Just because Steam does it right doesn't mean that every other company will. Won't you understand that they're all playing by their own rules? You've seen that with EA Origins, all right? They're playing by their own rules, and when you have online passes, when you have DRM, when you have all these restrictions, no way. And they're telling you now that the games are not even yours. So no way is this the future. Cloud gaming, seriously, gamers, you can stop this, but you have to be together on this, because if not, they'll take it. They'll take it. You have to understand, if they go out on a limb and try something and it's not received correctly, or it's received in a negative light, guess what? Other companies won't attempt it. That's what this comes down to. But you know what? Whatever. I'm really sick and tired of this shit. Anyways, look, let's move on to some positive news. Sega is celebrating Sonic with the 20th anniversary with Sonic Generations Collector's Edition. That's right. Also, in Ninja Gaiden 3 news, for those who are still interested, there will be a Create a Ninja feature. That's right, so you can use in the game. Also, Silent Hill Collection is possibly delayed. It's a rumor that will be delayed. I don't care. After what Konami said about it, fuck them. Anyways, Resident Evil Revelations will feature dual voice options and have a chapter-based system. Alright, so no more just running around and carrying on. It's a chapter-based system. It means the game's going to be easier. Alright? Anyways, GTA 5, that's right, to be released at earliest late of next year. That's what an analyst says. Zelda Skyward Sword. That's right. Now, we just talked about this not too long ago where people were saying that Zelda was taking too long to make, and I said, no, take your time and make a great game. Well, Zelda Skyward Sword will last 50 to 100 hours in gameplay. That's right, guys. That's right. Now, look, I need to move on a little bit of Nintendo news, all right? Because this is going to get kind of sad, all right? The Wii U is in development hell. It says controllers are rushed and still don't work properly. Controllers were rushed, and don't work properly. I wonder why. Like I said, guys, when they rush shit, it does not work. Sit back and wait. All right. Now, also, we talked about this 3DS thing last week, and you guys were saying, hey, they're not saying they're making a new system, you know, and this is the problem I have with this, because you have to understand that this article was talking about how the 3DS is screwing over customers. It's pretty much a beta system, because they are going to come out with another one that has an extra analog on it. You have to understand that, guys. It's been proven in the past. Look at the Game Boy Color, the DS, DS Lite, and all these. Look at the history of what Nintendo has done with their handhelds, their portables. This is going to happen. They have not announced it yet, but come on. It's going to happen, whether you like it or not. Now, also, Max Payne 3. Let's talk about this. A lot of people are happy about Max Payne 3, but developers are coming out and saying, now we talked about this last week, I believe, where developers said you shouldn't have to tell people how much you're spending on your game and how much you're going to lose if not, because that's how you drive away customers. Well, Max Payne 3, developers are saying that the game could cost $105 million to develop. Yes, and that it will require 4 million sold to break even. First off, you don't need a $105 million budget to make the game. You don't. All right, this is what happens when you try to go Hollywood. This is what this is. Following the blockbuster trend and these microwave games with big time explosions and all this other bullshit. You don't need all this, all right? You can make a quality game without doing that. You're fucking yourselves over. You're screwing yourselves at this point. Don't even blame the fans. If no one buys it, I'm not trying to hear, oh, well, the fans weren't interested. There's no, you know, interest in Max Payne, and it's because the fans, they didn't want. No, understand that you're spending way too much money on this game. You do not need $105 million to play. I mean, to make Max Payne. And I guarantee you, when Max Payne 3 comes out, I'm going on record and saying it now. The fall of Max Payne, yeah, part 2, it will be better than Max Payne 3. I guarantee you. Anyways, and you didn't use 105 for that either. But whatever. All right, now, Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter for the 3DS, this really saddens me. Monster Hunter for the 3DS is causing developers stress. They cannot take it. It's obviously a hard task to make a game on the 3DS. Apparently there's some problem with the 3D options, and they're having a really tough time making it. With that being said, Konami, Capcom, at this point I can just interchange them. Capcom has announced Monster Hunter 4 to be exclusive for the 3DS. What the fuck? What? You didn't learn anything from the Wii? What the hell's wrong with them? What the hell's wrong with you? I'm going to go out on a limb now and predict how this is going to work, all right? Monster Hunter 4 will be exclusive to the 3DS, and the PS Vita, not the PSP, but the PS Vita will get maybe a portable third for exclusivity. I mean, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say this. This is how Capcom works, all right? Now, also, speaking of developers, all right? Because developers and publishers, we talked about this not too long ago, how the publishers screw developers. Yeah, well, the developers are now starting to talk back, because Zen Studios lashes back at Team Meat at the Microsoft Bash. Apparently, they are not happy with the way Microsoft does business, and this is not the first time that Microsoft has been under the gun when it comes to developers jumping on Microsoft or don't want to work with Microsoft because of their, I guess, their terms and conditions or whatever, and it doesn't help the developer, and they also don't help push their games as well. Well, apparently that's what they're saying here, that, there was no help from Microsoft whatsoever. So, I don't know, guys. You know what? It's been a bad week for gaming, and I know there's a lot of things I didn't talk about, but I'm sure what I covered was enough. This video was long enough. Seriously, gamers, this is getting bad. We already know it. The retailers are going to go digital. We already know developers are pushing digital, and the thing is, gamers are just falling into it. Why are you backing companies that are telling you we don't need you? I don't understand that. Gamers are for games, not for companies, not for platforms and all this other bullshit, all right? Understand, if you're going to play a game wherever it is, whether it's in the arcade, whether you're at a Dave & Buster's or whatever, it doesn't matter, all right? But understand that you can't simply blindly, I should say, stupidly back these companies. These companies don't give a shit about you. You're just a unit sold to them. But that doesn't matter, does it? You just have this loyalty. Look, if you like a certain system or whatever as opposed to a different one, that's your opinion. You have the right to that. I don't have a problem with that, all right? But also understand that it comes, I told you, with gamers, it's more than just about playing games. It's not like how it used to be. Now you have a responsibility. You have to be educated in these things. You have to know these things. And that's why I do this show, not just for the hardcore gamers, but for people, like I said, people who don't even play games. The parents who buy games for their kids and don't know what's going on. Yes, it's for them as well. So understand, I'm trying to hit everyone. So to let you guys know, this is going to get worse. It's going to get worse. And Sony is the worst one of them all right now. At least this week they are. This is horrible. How dare you sit here and tell us that we don't own anything, and how if we don't like it, you can just pretty much pack up and go home. We don't need you. And then turn around in your conferences and say that, oh, we care about the fans. You don't care about the fans. You know you don't care about the fans, because you know without us, you don't exist. So you kiss ass, and it's an illusion. That's what it is. It's an illusion that you do that while trying to do your own business. You don't give a shit about us. And I'm not trying to hear these companies are starving either. I'm not trying to hear that shit. Anyways, guys, I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all have a good weekend. I know it's a lot of bad news. Try to have a good weekend. I'll talk to y'all later. Same bat time, same bat channel next week. I'm out.